Hello, everybody. Welcome back. And finally, some news for the New York Jets after a very, very, very quiet OTAs period. Uncharacteristically quiet, which is a good thing when it comes to the New York Jets. Finally, something happened, and the Jets have decided to re sign Joe Tippman. Joe Tippman who played guard last year for us. Originally drafted to be a center, but kicked out to guard. And he has been doing a very good job at guard. And this is another great, amazing heads up move by Darren Muji and the front office to get another contract done when it needed to be done. And, you know, we're starting to see this offense sort of come together for years to come and what we're going to be handed with for the next couple of years with this offense. Whoever the quarterback is going to be for the future of the New York Jets, I think that quarterback is going to be very set up, is going to be very, 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 very set up for success whenever he gets here. Um, the only question is who's it going to be and where are the Jets going to pick um, to get that certain player. I have said so many times that this is a 7-win football team with Geno Smith. I still believe that statement. I do not think that this is a horrible team, let alone a good team. I think it is a solid team that is going to win games unexpectedly, but they're also going to lose games that people think that they're going to win so easily. It's just the par for the course. But at least I think this team is going to show a lot of improvement off of what last year shown. Um, and personally, aside from like a handful of players last year, the Jets they didn't have a lot of good players. They did have Quinnen, they did have Sauce, they did have Garrett and Brees, but aside from that, I mean, it wasn't that incredible. It wasn't that great. And they were banking on Justin Fields to be this superstar player, this player that, you know, got dumped by the Bears and now got dumped by the Steelers and Aaron Glenn expected him to be, you know, a superstar and that blew up in his face. That's what I chalk last year up to. A very bad decision at the biggest position of sports was made and they went, should I say, I shouldn't say they went all in on Justin Fields, but they wanted to compete with Justin Fields. And that didn't work out. That was probably the worst, um, one of the worst commitments to a quarterback I've seen for this team. I mean, I've seen this team pick bust after bust of quarterback, but I've never seen a team bet on Justin Fields the way that they did last year, and it just failing absolutely miserably. Um, and now they're at the point where they have to try a an option in Geno Smith, which a lot of people say is an unattractive option. I am the one to beg to differ. I think Geno Smith is leagues better than Justin Fields. Um, honestly, because he's shown it. He's shown that he is better than Justin Fields. He has a higher ceiling. We have seen Geno Smith play for the Seattle Seahawks and win games, big games for Seattle, playing against good competition in the 49ers and the Rams. He's won those types of games. He's shown that he can play. And whether people like Geno Smith, don't like him, I could say he's an upgrade. I will still stand by that statement that he is an upgrade. But how big of an upgrade? That's going to be the conversation. Now, during this whole quiet time that the New York Jets have been in during OTAs, the New York Knicks officially ended their championship drought. I am also a Knicks fan, so I finally found out how it feels to see a team win a championship, and it feels pretty darn good. I'll say that. But looking at the Knicks again, this is going to be a reference to my video before I made, I think, a couple weeks back, that the Knicks should be a template for every Jet fan that is thinking in the back of their head, am I ever going to see this team win a championship? Because let me tell you something. I am a Knicks fan. I said the same exact things. I am never going to see the Knicks win a championship. Never going to see it. And then guess what happened? They won a championship. They hired the right people. They brought in the right players. And they eventually got it done. And to say that's impossible for the Jets is plain old just you're not paying attention to sports, or you do not know sports if you think, that's not possible for the Jets. Or you're just a hater. You just want the Jets to suck. But it's possible for the Jets to accumulate and build and get a collection of good players. And that's what they're doing. They're keeping the players that they have currently that are very good players, like Garrett Wilson and Breece Hall, and now Joe Tippman. And they're trying to build something, and eventually they'll get their quarterback, their signal caller, their guy to help this group get to the next level. Right now, it's not about the tank. It's about the building process. If I'm going to compare this Jets team to something, it will be, I think, the 2020 Knicks, the 2020 New York Knicks, where, yes, they missed out on Zion the year before. Remember, they missed out on the number one pick. They got the third overall pick. Everyone's like, oh my God, we don't even get KD. We don't get Kyrie Irving. We don't even get Zion. Oh, well, we're never going to win. What happens in 2020? We bring in Julius Randle, which I remember when we signed Julius Randle, it was the most uninspiring signing I've ever seen. Everyone was like, this team's going to suck again. This team stinks. We will never win. The whole hoopla. And I get the same feeling with Geno Smith, where he is such an uninspiring signing, uninspiring quarterback to put in, that everyone is so down on this team to the point where everyone's thinking we're going to get the number one pick. And with the 2020 Knicks, with Julius Randle, what happened? They made the postseason. They built themselves into a winning team. And that was the first step. The first step was winning games. It wasn't tanking. The tanking wasn't the first step. The first step was winning. And then building upon that winning and getting better players and replacing players that you knew weren't going to win, get you over the hump, and replacing them with better players. This is building 101. This is sports building 101. And what the Knicks did should be a blueprint of what the Jets should be doing. It should be a blueprint. And I read a post on Instagram showing the Knicks winning the championship, and it said, "Soon this will be the Jets." And the amount of comments that were hopeful, but at the same time bashful of the post of the possibility of one day the Jets will win a Super Bowl championship is insane. What the Knicks just proved to you, they proved it. You can win with it with an owner like James Dolan. And Woody Johnson is very, very on the same tier of an owner than James Dolan. And James Dolan won a championship. Let's put that into perspective. So to any Jet fan that thinks we are never going to win with Woody Johnson, I will point to James Dolan in the Knicks because let's be honest, all of us Knicks fans were saying the same exact thing. We will never win a championship if when James Dolan is the owner of the team, and he won a championship while he was owning the Knicks. He hoisted the Larry O'Brien, which none of us envisioned. None of us saw that coming. None of us. If you would have told some of us back in 2017 when Charles Oakley got kicked out of MSG that James Dolan and the team that the people that he hired like Leon Rose and Mike Brown would be hoisting the Larry O'Brien, we would laugh at your face. We would say James Dolan is the worst owner in sports. What people are saying about James Dolan, it's the same exact things they're saying about Woody Johnson. The same exact dang things. Same exact damn things. We'll never win with Woody Johnson. We'll never win. I think that's just us trying, just shrugging and saying, well, we're never going to win. Well, I'm going to be the one to give the fans at least some semblance of hope. Is it going to be this year? No. No, I don't think it's going to be this year. But the most important thing to do this year is to build upon a winning culture. Start building a winning culture. Win games. Win games that we're not even expecting you to win. Beat the Packers. You play the Packers in week 2. Beat the Packers. Beat the Bears. You know, who else? Beat the Patriots. Beat the teams we are not picking you to beat. And look, I'm not expecting playoffs, but let me tell you something. Playoffs would certainly help. It would certainly help with this rebuild. And I know all these people are going to think, okay, we win 7 games, we make the playoffs. Okay, how are we going to get our quarterback? Well, all I'm going to say is this. You have 3 first-round picks that you can use. You can use 2 first-round picks straight up. You still have 2 first-round picks in the first round if you trade up for your quarterback. You can keep the third first-round pick. You can trade 2 of them, trade up, take your quarterback, and then keep your other first-round pick that might be later on the round and build there. Look, this is how you build, man. It's just how you build. You got to win first. It's not about tanking. The Knicks literally just showed you that. We thought, with the whole Zion thing, Zion would be the beginning of, you know, the winning culture in New York. We didn't get Zion. We got RJ Barrett. And we thought, like, okay, we tanked. Here comes the winning. It didn't come right away. It came. That wasn't the main reason why we were starting to win. Main reason why we were starting to win was we were building a culture. It wasn't just about tanking. Tanking didn't do anything for the Knicks. Don't believe me? Look at the Nets. The Nets tanked. They got nothing. They tanked. They were trying to get the number 1 overall pick. They were trying to maximize all the assets the Knicks gave them. They got the 6th overall pick. They got the sixth overall pick, and they see their crosstown rivals win an NBA championship. Well, they are hopeless. They are hopeless right now. Tanking solves nothing. Nothing. It doesn't solve anything. What solves something is winning. That's what solves something. The real issue, the real X factor, I think, of this season is the head coach, Aaron Glenn. Let's all be honest. That is the X factor of how this season is going to be viewed as a success or a failure. If the Jets are as bad as what they were last year, even though I do not see that, and on paper they look 10 times better than what they were last year. But if they're as bad as what they were last year, then we all know, officially all know, we have a coaching problem, and we need to go somewhere else and find the right man for the job. So what I'm getting out of this is with the Jets signing Joe Tippman, they are trying to build with these young players, trying to build with wins. They're not trying to build with picks, they're trying to build with wins. They're trying to get win. Case in point, 2017, the Buffalo Bills haven't made the playoffs since, I think, in the 90s. They had the longest playoff drought at that point in 2017. They made the playoffs with Tyrod Taylor for the first time since the 90s. For the first time this millennium, they made the playoffs in 2017. The very next year, they traded up for Josh Allen. Now, have the Bills won a Super Bowl yet? No. But they're a team that everyone picks to win a Super Bowl. They're a team that everyone thinks is going to be good every year. Because guess what? They won every year. Did they win Super Bowls? No. But they made the playoffs. They won the division. They have a very good quarterback with a very good team. That's how you do it. You build by wins. You don't build by losing. Building by losing doesn't do you anything. And may I mention, they traded up for Josh Allen. The Chiefs, 2013, 2012, the Chiefs sucked. Sucked. They had Todd Haley as head coach. They sucked. They were awful. They were trash. They got the number one overall pick. They brought in Andy Reid. They brought in Alex Smith. They won games. They made the playoffs. They had playoff heartbreak, but they were a winning team. They were a decent team. But what brought them over the top, what finally got them over the hump, was that they traded up for Patrick Mahomes. So where am I getting at here? With the Bills getting Josh Allen and the Chiefs getting Patrick Mahomes. Those teams were already set. They were already set. They just didn't have the full on answer. They had journeyman at the quarterback position. And Alex Smith, look, I respect Alex Smith. I love Alex Smith. He's probably one of my favorite underrated quarterbacks of the generation I started watching football. But he was a game manager. We can all put that into perspective compared to Patrick Mahomes. But that is what Gino is supposed to be. He's supposed to be our Tyrod Taylor. He's supposed to be our Alex Smith. He's supposed to be the guy that leads the team to wins, to make the team look respectable. He's supposed to be our Julius Randle. A guy, yeah, he's not a superstar, he's not elite, but he will lead us to wins. That is the goal here. That is what the Jets are trying to accomplish by building. And then they're trying to trade up by winning. If they win too much, fine. But they're trying to trade up, possibly, to get their guy of the future, and then win and then win with that player. That's how you build. It's how you build. Just how you do it. You don't build by tanking. You just don't. And that is a valuable lesson I think a lot of Jet fans should learn. I mean, we played the tanking game back in 2020 with Trevor Lawrence. Didn't work. Didn't work. They won a game in Los Angeles. We drafted Zach Wilson that completely plundered or delayed our development in trying to get this team back in the right track. Completely delayed it. And then we tried to tank for Fernando Mendoza this past year. And there were ton of Jet fans praying that we lose out. Hell, I was one of them. When the season was so far out of reach, I was praying that the Raiders would at least win one more game. One more game. I was praying that the strength of schedule statistics favored the Jets getting the number one overall pick. It didn't. Even though the Raiders and the Jets finished with the same record, and I can argue the Raiders would kick the Jets' ass last year, at the end of last year. I would really argue that. But the Jets got the second overall pick. They didn't get Fernando Mendoza. That was it. So tanking solves nothing. Winning is the first recipe of success. The first recipe. It is a process. It is a process. And we're going to have to learn to go through that process. All right. That's all said. Joe Tippman is our guard for the long term. And Darren Muji is doing his damnedest to do his best Leon Rose impression and building a team from nothing to something in the city of New York. All right. I'll see you all later, and go Jets.